It's important to build a sales funnel that works for you versus you working for the sales funnel. Because in my previous business, I slaved away building a sales funnel that just wasn't the most strategic and optimized. And so I wasted a lot of time and energy. And I don't want that to happen to you. And so in this video, I'm going to overview what a sales funnel is and how you can optimize it. So kicking things off, what is a sales funnel? I'm going to introduce a very basic, simple version of it. With my clients, we go a little bit more specific, but for the purposes of this example, let's keep it simple. You've probably seen it before, but it usually looks like an upside down triangle because at every single stage, you will have less and less people, and that is okay. That is natural because you and your business and your services are not meant for everyone. It's just meant for your ideal customer. So starting at the very top of the sales funnel, typically it starts with traffic. This is how people are finding out about you, how they're going to your social media, how they're going to your website. So we want to make sure you're always getting more traffic to your business so that you can continuously have new people to sell to and make your sales. So traffic usually looks like Google SEO, so people typing on the internet and then stumbling on your website. It also looks like your social media profiles, but usually high traffic social media profiles. YouTube is a really good example because when you Google things, sometimes YouTube videos pop up, and also YouTube's search engine is also really good as well. Another example is TikTok. I would say TikTok's search is really, really good as well. I actually think a lot of Gen Zs, my sister's a Gen Z, so I base everything off of what she tells me, but she's told me that she just literally doesn't use Google anymore. She just searches things on TikTok. So TikTok's another good platform. I would say Instagram is okay as well. When you Google things, typically Instagram doesn't come up, but you can search for things in the Instagram search. And then the next stage of the sales funnel is nurturing or warming up your audience. This is important because if you're getting new people into your community, new people into your funnel, you want to warm them up so that they trust you, they find you credible, they find you an expert, and they want to buy from you. But that doesn't typically happen the first time they stumble upon your Instagram or the first time they watch your YouTube video. It takes time for you to nurture and warm people up, but that's a very important point. And you'll notice that from traffic to nurturing, there's a drop-off point because as you warm up your audience, again, you're not going to be for everyone, and that's okay, so long as your ideal customer resonates with you. Typically, I would say this also looks like social media. So like YouTube, I would say podcasts really sit under nurturing as well. Podcast SEO isn't as great, but I will find that a lot of my clients listen to my podcast before they buy from me. And then also, I would say email newsletters are a great place to nurture as well. The main thing with nurturing, though, is making sure you're giving a lot of free value that your ideal customer would resonate with. So you may have heard the term lead magnet or some sort of opt-in to try to capture your prospect and be able to warm them up. And that's stuff I talk about in my private podcast called Sustain Your Success. But anyways, I talk about that. And then when it comes to conversion, you are actually going to be selling to them. So whether that's a sales call, on a webinar, through a challenge, through an email, literally through the sales page on your website, you're going to be selling to them. And so if you don't have a sales funnel set up, you're likely listening to this being like, oh my gosh, this is so stressful and overwhelming, but I don't want you to feel this way. So don't exit the video. I'm going to now really break down how you can do it in an optimized manner and not overwhelm yourself. So if you're just starting from scratch and or you're noticing that your conversion isn't great, I would still go back to the basics and keep things simple. Remember that it's keeping things simple so that you can then grow and scale and do this in a sustainable way. When it comes to your traffic, I really find nowadays that there's so much noise out there. There's so many YouTube channels, so many podcasts, so many social media platforms. And so what you want to do is to double down and make sure you pinpoint where your ideal customer is. So are they watching YouTube videos? Are they on Instagram? Are they on TikTok? Where are they? And then double down on those platforms and do it really well. I've talked about this before, but as a new business, you have limited time, limited resources and energy, so you don't want to spread yourself too thin. You want to do 1 to 2 platforms really, really well so that you can grow your audience, do a really good job, get the traffic you need, and then be able to sustainably grow and scale your business. So start small. Make sure your website, first of all, is SEO optimized. That low-hanging fruit you should absolutely do. And then pick 1 to 2 social media platforms that your ideal customer is on and make them really, really good. When it comes to nurturing your audience, it's important. I would just have 1 lead magnet to start with and make sure it is something your ideal customer is struggling with and would find really valuable. So do some market research if you don't know what you should be giving away for free and figure that out. As an example, if you are a wedding planner, maybe you have a free wedding planning Notion template that you give away for free in order to capture your potential leads' emails. Or another example, if you are a personal stylist, maybe you have this intentional purchase checklist that you're giving away for free. That is actually one of my clients' lead magnets. So you want to just have one lead magnet. And the mistake I made in my previous business was I used to have so many lead magnets. I was almost making one a quarter, which is wild, but I would have all these PDF guides floating around. And what would happen is that I wouldn't really attract new people because the lead magnets were okay, but it would just be the same people in my community just continuously getting so much free value from me, but like never buying. So you want to have one lead magnet that you can go to, and then eventually as you grow and scale, you can have two, but make sure the one is really, really good and put all of your resources into making it good. And then when it comes to your conversion, do whatever method is sustainable for you. I've talked about this before, but I signed up for a lot of courses and programs to scale my business, but they would teach a very grow at all costs mentality. And they would be like, oh, you have to do 100 sales calls a day. I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean? They'll be like, you have to do 100 sales calls a day. You have to do a webinar every other week, whatever. And it's just so much energy and so draining. And it just wasn't sustainable for me. Yes, I would see an increase in sales, but I would also see a nosedive in my mental sanity. And I just couldn't maintain it for it to be consistent and sustainable for me. So be realistic with yourself. If you have time to do sales calls, amazing, do it. Or if you don't, maybe do a webinar. Or if webinars don't work for you, then do a challenge. Or if challenges don't work for you, then literally just engage with your community on Instagram DMs. Like, do whatever you can do. And I wish someone gave me the permission to do that. So I'm giving you the permission now. I hope that this is helpful for you. If you haven't already heard, I have a brand new private podcast called Sustain Your Success. And in that podcast, I break down how to sustainably grow and get more sales to your business. And I go deep. So if you really like this YouTube video, I go way deeper in the podcast. I give you resources and templates as well. So you can click the link down below to access it or visit selenaho.com/SYS. Super excited for you to set up your sales funnel now. And remember, if you're doing this from scratch, keep it simple, be very intentional about it. And if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments down below.